Today we're making coconut chicken curry. It's incredibly easy to make. It has 608 calories and 56 grams of protein per portion, and best of all, it's perfect for storing. Starting off with the prep, we're going to need 1 large brown or yellow onion. If they're smaller, use 2. Take off both ends, slice it in half, and then peel it. In the half moon position, we're then going to thinly slice the whole way across, and when you get about 3/4 of the way through, you can lay it down flat again. This way you can slice it safely. Same with the onion, we're going to use 1 large red bell pepper. If they're small, you can use 2. Stand this up with the bottom facing down and then slice around that core. It's the cleanest way to get minimal seeds and pith. And if there is any excess seeds or pith in there, just remove it. You can bang it on the bench. It's an easy way to do so. Once you have it cleaned up, slice this into thin strips, same size as the onions or a little bit thicker. It doesn't really matter. And these two are going to be cooked off together. What I have here is 5 cloves of garlic and 10 grams or 0.3 ounces of peeled ginger. Run both of these along a microplane to create pastes, and you can mix these two together as they're going into the dish at the exact same time. Last but not least is 1 kilo or 2.2 pounds of boneless and skinless chicken thigh. Slice these in half or into thirds and then slice through the center and dice these into small to medium sized pieces. The bigger they are, the longer they're going to cook, and try and be as consistent as possible. That way everything's going to cook at the same rate. Now for the curry, into a pan over a medium-high heat, add in 1 tablespoon or 20 grams of coconut oil. You don't have to use this if you don't want to. And add in the onions and the bell peppers or capsicums along with a pinch of salt. Mix this around regularly and cook this off for about 5 to 6 minutes or until both vegetables have softened. We don't want to put too much color on them though, so keep them moving around. At this point, add in the garlic and ginger, mix it around again, make sure that it hasn't clumped up, and cook for about 1 minute. For the spices, I'm using 3 tablespoons or 15 grams of ground cumin, 1.5 tablespoons or 12 grams of sweet paprika, and chili powder or chili flakes are optional. I'm using 1 teaspoon or about 2.5 grams of red chili powder. Mix this around, cook this for 1 minute, make sure those spices are mixed through the vegetables. If you start noticing that it's getting a bit dark, you can turn the pan down. Then to deglaze the pan, add in 180 milliliters or 3/4 of a cup of vegetable or chicken stock. Mix this around, let it rip up all of the flavor from the bottom of the pan and bring it up to a simmer. Season to taste with salt, mix it all around really well, and cook this for about 1 minute for that stock to slightly reduce. Add in 2 cans or 800 grams of crushed or diced tomatoes along with a little bit of water to rinse out the can. Also adding in 1 can or 400 milliliters of coconut milk. Don't use coconut cream here because it's too thick. And then start mixing this around, get that nice color going, make sure all of those ingredients have become friends and mixed really well. We can then add in all of our diced chicken. There's no need to sear it off first. Mix this all together, make sure nothing's clumped up, and then bring the sauce to a simmer. Reduce the heat to low and cook it for about 30 to 35 minutes. In the meantime, we'll do our rice. I'm using 300 grams or 10.5 ounces of washed jasmine rice along with 500 milliliters or 2 cups of chicken stock, a little bit of salt, and then mix it around, bringing it up to a boil. Once it is at a boil, place on a lid, reduce the heat to low and cook this for 12 minutes undisturbed. After 12 minutes, remove it from the heat but leave the lid on for a final 4. Then start fluffing this up with a fork until you have this nice fluffy rice, and you can do this with basmati if you prefer. Going back to the curry, this has been cooking away for about 35 minutes. The chicken's extremely tender and you can see that sauce is reduced really well. Check it for seasoning and then add in 120 grams or 4.2 ounces of washed baby spinach. This is completely optional, just adds a nice little bit of greenery to it. Mix it around, cook it for about 2 minutes until that spinach is wilted, and we can remove this from the heat. This recipe serves 5 and I'm using 5 750 milliliter containers. I have a link for them in the description. Place the rice on one side and then the curry on the other. All weights are on screen as well as the final weight in the macro card coming up. Garnish with a little bit of coriander or cilantro. You can add some Greek yogurt on the top as well as a lime wedge. And what we've just created is this delicious coconut chicken curry. It looks incredible and smells delicious too. Let these cool down for about 15 to 20 minutes, then we can start placing on the lids. They'll go in the fridge for up to 4 days and in the freezer for up to 4 months. For reheating, you can do it in a pan or a microwave. If you are doing it in a pan, you can add the whole lot in and mix the rice through it as well. If you prefer to keep it separate, you can microwave the rice or you can cook the rice completely fresh every time. That choice is all yours. As for a microwave, just heat it in 1 minute bursts for about 3 minutes. Mix it around each time, just make sure it's nice and hot in the center. This right here is the full macro card per portion as well as the complete serving size, and the full written recipe is in the link in the description. With everything said and done, there's one thing left to do, and that is we can then dig in. This is one of those curries that just gets better over time the longer you store it, so it's perfect for meal prep. The chicken's super tender, that sauce is nice and rich, packed with spices, even though we didn't use that many. Then the rice has got that nice stock flavor. Of course you can use water, but why not intensify it that little bit more? Cannot wait for you to try it, and thanks for watching.